Hello everyone. Today I just wanted to do a quick review on the Seamaster Aqua Terra. This watch is phenomenal. My favorite watch by far. As we go through the video, you'll probably see some marks on it, and that is because I wear this watch more than any of my other watches. I love this piece. You might be wondering how this is my favorite piece since I dive fairly regularly and my job is pretty close related to that. But this piece just, it's flashy. Don't get me wrong. You can see in the light, it's very flashy, but it just makes you feel so good when you wear it. And the key feature about this watch that I really like is that it's pretty much anti-magnetic. So 15,000 Gauss, basically nothing you're ever going to do is going to touch it magnetism wise. I work around a lot of high magnetism, high energy systems for my job, so that is extremely important to me. I have absolutely destroyed a watch with magnetism before. This Christopher Ward watch I had to go get it demagnetized at one point. That wasn't fun. But this one, no worries. I wear it all the time. It is fantastic. If you exclusively wear dive watches, it might be a pleasant surprise to try a watch that doesn't have a rotating bezel. And what I mean by that is when you first get a watch without a dive bezel, you might be a little put off and you might be saying, what if I need to time something? Well, I mean, in reality, you really don't need to time things that often. And the fact that this has date, time, it's not overly large on your wrist, but it just looks gorgeous, is a great reason to switch from a dive watch. So let me put this on wrist really quick. And we'll talk about the clasp here in a second. But again, around 6.5 inch wrist. Looks great, love it. Not too thick. It's about 13 millimeters thick, 20 millimeter lugs, so you can use lots of straps on it. Most of this video is just me showing you the watch. If you look here, you can see all the little scratches from me banging it around all the time. I just love it though, and you can't really tell unless you're really looking close up. You also have this clear case back, which is great. You can see the movement. Also, not that anyone really cares, but compared to Tudor Pelagos, for Omega, if you do want to change the straps out, it's kind of hard to see, but I'll put it up here. Look how much space you have there for your tool, right? If you want to take this bracelet off and put a NATO strap on or something like that, it is so much easier than the Tudor Pelagos or most other watches that I have taken straps off on. Even though there's no quick release on any of these bracelets or straps, it's still pretty easy to get them off. And I mean, we're indoors and you can see the light play off of this bezel off of the dial is just amazing. And it just makes me so happy when I look at it at work. Might be having a bad day or whatever. You can just look down and you got a little bling on your wrist. It feels great. As far as the clasp is concerned, right? This was honestly, I almost didn't get this watch because of this butterfly clasp. I had heard so many negative things about butterfly clasps, specifically on this watch, as opposed to the quick adjust that's on everything else, that I almost didn't buy it just from hearsay. And that is a complete wrong way to go, right? I understand people want the quick adjust, but the butterfly, I mean, look, you have full links, quarter links, you have plenty of room to adjust your watch, right? Once you get it perfect, and I recommend getting it just slightly loose so that you can not feel constricted when your wrist swells up when you get hot. But once you get this perfect, it barely slides around when you're cold, and then when you're warm, it fits perfectly. It's not a super heavy watch, so it's not going to be an anchor flopping all over your wrist. It's just going to sit comfortably, and it looks great. And the butterfly clasp is just so comfortable. And arguably, the reason I actually ended up loving this clasp so much is that, and people with short wrist diameters will probably identify with this. Sometimes with your watches, when you have a big clasp, you end up with only a couple watch links, and it just kind of annoys me, right? Specifically the new Christopher Ward's, the Omega Seamaster 300 has a large clasp, anything like that, even the Pelagos has a large clasp. You end up not getting a bunch of these links, and I personally think sometimes it looks kind of weird. So by far, all that to say, my favorite part of this butterfly clasp is that you feel like you have all these watch links, and it just feels really great to wear a watch and have all those links, even though I have a somewhat smaller wrist. It doesn't look like the whole thing is a clasp. It's pretty nice, honestly, and it feels great. As far as loom, it has Good Loom, but it doesn't have a lot of that Good Loom, right? It has the same loom that's in the 300, but it's not gonna light up a room. And honestly, for a non-dive watch, do you really want a blazing loom torch on your wrist at all times? I don't. I actually super love the tasteful amount of loom that's on this watch, and I am super impressed with everything about it. I love the date at 6 o'clock. Symmetry for me, for some reason at some point, those watches that have like the date at the 3 and then you have 6, 9, 12 numbers, it blows my mind. I can't deal with it after I started noticing it. I have to have all 4 numbers or no date, or the date here at 6 is perfect. It just has to be symmetrical. I don't know why. It's just a personal thing. It's pretty weird. It doesn't matter if it affects you or not. Honestly, it's preference. But this watch is perfect. The movement is fantastic. Bulletproof. Should be 10 years before you need a service. Comes with a 5-year warranty. I mean, just look. I've got my fingerprints all over it at this point, but just look at the light play on this thing. It's phenomenal. And even so, I don't have the bracelet on it right now, but we'll pull this guy out. I'll be reviewing pretty soon. This is the 300 diver. So next to each other, the sizing isn't too different. The white dial 300 is just more of a I'm working and I actually need to see the time really quickly. I'll talk about this one in depth a lot. This is phenomenal watch. Amazing watch. But pretty much the same movements, both anti-magnetic. Also, if we look at the dome here, you can see that it is, or the sapphire crystal here, you can see that it is slightly domed, just ever so slightly, which actually adds like a really cool look to it. It's not even enough to really notice most of the time, but it's the small details like these that make this watch just absolutely amazing. And as much as I love dive watches and use them all the time, I wear this all the time. I can't take it off. I'm getting fingerprints all over this thing, so we'll somewhat clean it up a little bit here. But I mean, you can see the light playing off of it. You can see the movement in there. Again, favorite part about the watch, you get all these links. Everyone uses this as a retraction. I think it's a bonus. I do think a dive watch should have an adjustment right here, and I do think the dive watches benefit greatly from the clamshell design and those bigger clasps. But for this specific watch, this type of watch, I think butterfly is where it's at. I don't know. If anyone has any thoughts, you can let me know in the comments down below. But this review is pretty much showing off the watch, talking about my likes and dislikes. Most of the specs and the heavy duty details you guys can look up online. I mean, I feel like every video I watch when I'm researching something is just, these are the specs. This is this over and over again. No one tells me the little things about the watch that just are ultimately the things that make you decide whether you're going to keep it or not. So those are the reasons I am going to keep this watch probably forever. If I was going to keep one forever, it would be this one. So that's it for today, guys. Oh, let me show you a loom shot really quick. I'll show you next to the 300, and then we'll throw out this random Christopher Ward. And I don't have any other watches out right now, so we'll stick with that. But let me get these lit up really quick. All right, turn the lights off. All right, so there's the Loom. You can see the 300 and the Aqua Terra both have the same Loom, just different amounts, and then the Christopher Ward has that green Loom. The Christopher Ward will fade really quickly, but I do like the green Loom on the Christopher Ward. Don't count them out. Yeah, that's about it, guys. Have a great week, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.